Donald Trump just gave a humiliating press conference. So after the news broke that Donald Trump was pausing the tariffs for 90 days amid the economic turmoil with the markets crashing, the bond market imploding, Donald Trump said he had authorized a, quote, substantially lowered reciprocal tariff during this period of 10% against the world. He also posted that he's increasing the tariffs on China to 125%. Trump then gave this press conference outside of the White House and then gave one in the Oval Office. And he was asked by a reporter, did the bond markets imploding persuade you to reverse course? Here, play this clip.
It does take guts, believe me.
Was it the bond markets that persuaded you to reverse course?
I was watching the bond market. The bond market is very tricky. I was watching it, but if you look at it now, it's beautiful. The bond market right now is beautiful. But yeah, I saw last night where people were getting a little queasy. I think everything had, well, the big move wasn't what I did today. The big move was what I did on Liberation Day. We had Liberation Day in America. We were liberated from all of the horrible deals that were made, all of the horrible trade deals that were made. And I was helped by people just like this, senator, congressman, and friends, right? And we had great help in the Senate. Our Republican senators have been amazing. They stood tall. And likewise in the House. And
as our editor-in-chief, Ron Filipkowski, writes, I thought this was all part of the master plan. I'm sure it had nothing to do with the bond market going nuts. And so to recap, the bond market crashed, Trump soiled himself, and Scott Bessent, Donald Trump's Treasury Secretary, offered him a clean diaper and a way out. Here, Donald Trump explains why he instituted this tariff pause. Play this clip.
Here.
Yeah. You started the morning saying be cool, and just a few hours later, there was a pause put in on the tariffs. Can you walk us through your thinking about why you decided to put a 90-day pause?
Well, I thought that people were jumping a little bit out of line. They were getting yippy, you know? They were getting a little bit yippy, a little bit afraid, unlike these champions. Because we have a big job to do. No other president would have done what I did. No other president. I know the presidents, they wouldn't have done it. And it had to be done. What was happening to us on trade, not only with, you know, if you look at it, not only with China, but China was by far the biggest abuser in history, and others also. But
so people were getting yippity, a little afraid. By the way, remember, was it yesterday, 2 days ago, Donald Trump said there was no chance he was going to pause the tariffs. He says, if you pause the tariffs, that makes you a panican. He said, don't be a panican. He said, these tariffs are going to make America so rich. Tariffs are so great that they have to be paused because they were crushing the markets. A reporter asked Donald Trump, you said there would be no pause and now there's a pause. Here's Donald Trump's response. Play this clip.
What's your credibility like? Because you said that these tariffs would go in effect on Monday. You said no pause, and today there is a pause. So how can people believe your words today?
It's not a question of that. You have to have flexibility. I could say, here's a wall, and I'm going to go through that wall. I'm going to go through it no matter what, and keep going, and you can't go through the wall. Sometimes you have to be able to go under the wall, around the wall, or over the wall. These guys know that better than anybody, right? You got to go around them sometimes. You're not going to go through them. So I consider, you know, I think in financial markets, because they change. Look how much it changed today.
So what's really happening here is the cycle of Trump stupidity. I make stupid decisions. Something really bad happens. I convince my followers the problem is now magically solved. I reverse my stupid decision. Which brings us into Donald Trump's press conference inside the Oval Office, where he says the following about being a stupid president. Play this clip.
Stupid people. Maybe corrupt. I don't know. I don't know how you can be that stupid. How do you get to be president and you're stupid?
Now, speaking about being a stupid president, while that press conference was taking place, we also learned that the White House said that there would still be 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico. So let me get this straight, as Joey Palatino writes. So yesterday, Mexico and Canada were the only countries spared by the trade war, right? They weren't on that chart that Donald Trump put out there. But today they are the countries that are the hardest hit by the trade war. Honestly, what the F are you even supposed to say? If I ran a business in Mexico or a US business buying from Mexico, I'd be crashing out. And just think about the zero credibility the United States has with the rest of the world right now. Donald Trump said the tariffs remain in place. Then he reverses course when he panics. I mean, there was zero credibility already based on what the Trump regime's done over the past several months. But can you imagine right now? Well, because here's Donald Trump from the Oval Office after saying he's pausing the other tariffs, but he is now going to apply tariffs on pharmaceuticals and steel, he says. Here, play this clip.
It's interesting to see the sectoral tariffs, so the pharmaceuticals, steel. Is that something you're still considering moving forward?
Yeah, well, I will be, because we want them coming back. You know, we realized during COVID that we don't make our drugs and our pharmaceuticals in this country. So I realized that, and it was a big realization.
Now, just going back to what was going on at the outside press conference, Donald Trump was asked, would you consider exempting some larger companies that have been hit hard by the markets? Here's what Trump says. Let's play it.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Sir, would you consider exempting some U.S. companies, maybe some larger companies who have been hit hard in the markets the last few days during this 90 days?
As time goes by, we're going to take a look at it. There are some that have been hard. There are some that, by the nature of the company, get hit a little bit harder, and we'll take a look at that. Yeah.
You determine the next time.
Just instinctively, more than anything else. I mean, you almost can't take a pencil to paper. It's really more of an instinct, I think, than anything else.
All right, this was what it was all about. Trump says instinctively, but what he really means is he just wants people to beg him. That helps his ego. He wants and it's part of the authoritarian playbook, right? He wants companies to beg him, countries to beg him. Please, 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 can you help me? He's the arsonist. He creates the fire, and then he puts a little portion of the fire out, not the full fire. Then he's like, look what I did. Isn't this great? That's always been his MO. It's always been destructive. It's always been chaotic. Yet the business community and the corporate news, they wanted to attack former President Biden. Why? For not burning it down and then building parts of it back up. Utterly ridiculous, right? Here, Donald Trump addresses China. He talks about China. Play this clip.
Have a country. It wouldn't be sustainable. So I'm honored to have done it. And, look, nothing's over yet, but we have a tremendous amount of spirit from other countries, including China. China wants to make a deal. They just don't know how quite to go about it. It's one of those things they don't know how quite. They're proud people. And President Xi's a proud man. I know him very well. And they don't know quite how to go about it, but they'll figure it out. They're in the process of figuring it out, but they want to make a deal.
Here, Trump is clearly surprised when a reporter tells him that the EU announced tariff increases on the US today. It's like you can see how his team has to manage him, like they don't give him all of the information. He's surprised by this news. Here, play this clip.
Mr. President, the EU also announced increases in tariffs today. Why not treat
bad timing for them? That's bad timing.
Why not?
They didn't put them in. No, they threatened them, but they picked a later date, which our expectation is it's going to be later still.
Okay, good. I'm glad that they held back.
What else was going on outside during some of these press conferences taking place today? So then Trump's team had to be like, all right, this was all part of the plan from the outset. Absolutely. This is what we wanted to do. This is the art of the deal. Here's Donald Trump's chief propagandist, Caroline Leavitt, saying, yep, this was all part of the deal. The media got it wrong. This is what we wanted. Here, play this clip.
Excuse me, Raquel, if I could just add to what the secretary said. Many of you in the media clearly missed the art of the deal. You clearly failed to see what President Trump is doing here. You tried to say that the rest of the world would be moved closer to China when in fact we've seen the opposite effect. The entire world is calling the United States of America, not China, because they need our markets, they need our consumers, and they need this president in the Oval Office to talk to them. And that's exactly why more than 75 countries have called, because the United States of America is the best place in the world to do business. And as the president has shown great courage, as the secretary has said, in choosing to retaliate against China even higher. Elena, go ahead.
No, y'all were saying that tariffs are great. The tariffs are going to be the best thing. Liberation Day. no art of the deal. As Congress member Darren Soto says, another day, another tariff policy from Trump. His chaos will continue to be the destruction of our economy. He still kept the 10% across the board tariffs, a 10% tax on many goods. Mass layoffs will likely continue. Here's Scott Bessent, Trump's Treasury Secretary, talking about, oh, well, this is what we wanted the whole time. I had to talk with him on Sunday. Here, play this clip.
All this was, again, this was driven by the president's strategy. He and I had a long talk on Sunday, and this was his strategy all along. And that, you might even say that he goaded China into a bad position. They responded. They have shown themselves to the world to be the bad actors, and we are willing to cooperate with our allies and with our trading partners who did not retaliate. It wasn't a hard message. Don't retaliate. Things will turn out well.
Then Donald Trump goes back into the Oval Office press conference. There's the outside, then the Oval Office press conference, and then Trump says that. He signs an executive order saying that he's going to be going after Miles Taylor and Chris Krebs because those individuals said that the election from 2020 was not rigged and that it was a free and fair election. So he signs an executive order telling the Justice Department to go after those citizens for saying that the 2020 election was fair. Here, play this clip.
And this guy Krebs was saying, oh, the election was great. It was great. Well, it's been proven that it was not only not great. When you look at all these lawyers and law firms that are signing, giving us hundreds of millions of dollars, it was proven by so many different ways in so many different forms, from the legislatures not approving to the 51 intelligence agents that worked from all of the different scamming operations. It was a very corrupt election. They used COVID to cheat. And
then Trump brags that his tariff plan was written without any lawyers. Let me show you this clip right here.
I think it probably came together fairly early this morning. Just wrote it up. We didn't have the use of, we didn't have access to lawyers, or we just wrote it up from our hearts, right? It was written from the heart. And I think it was well written too, but it was written from the heart. It was written as something that I think was very positive for the world and for us. And we don't want to hurt countries that don't need to be hurt. And they all want to.
And Donald Trump then talks more about going after people for saying that the 2020 election was not stolen, that it was a fair election. Here, let's play the clip right here.
He was right. This was a disgraceful election, and this guy sat back saying, well, I'm a member, like he's a Republican or something, and almost right from the beginning, and he's tried to make the case that this election was a safe election. I think he said, this is the safest election we've ever had, and yet every day you read in the papers about more and more fraud that's discovered. He's the fraud. He's a disgrace. So we'll find out whether or not it was a safe election. And if it wasn't, he's got a big price to pay. And he's a bad guy.
Well, that's what Trump was doing today. We'll keep you posted every step of the way. Hit subscribe. Let's get to 5 million subscribers.
Love this video? Continue the conversation by following us on Instagram @MeidasTouch and help us blow past 1 million followers.